Today we're looking at the Balaur Arms 13th to 14th century longsword. This is a very nimble and agile longsword. There's some specs, up close looks, and some cut testing with this new one from Balaur. Okay, first impressions on this one. I did the cutting already. Actually, this is why you soak your tatami mats correctly. Here's 4 cuts, all perfectly spaced, but it wasn't cut all the way through. So I think I'm just gonna tape it and then re-soak it and use it for another reel. But that's from this sword. So the cutting ability on this is really, really great. This is the 13th to 14th century one from Balaur. It's got this wood cord leather wrapped scabbard, steel tip, these little divots or dimples, you can call them. That's where you would hang a sword belt. So you can get a sword belt at kultofathena.com in the leather goods section. There's sword frogs, sword belts, all the stuff you would need to carry something of this caliber. So I'm gonna put the scabbard down. I'll come back to that in a second. Oh yeah, it's got the chap on it too. So this is gonna decrease the ability for moisture to go in. So that like chap or rain guard, you also have that. This is the time period of when arming swords were kind of, sword and shield wasn't as popular. And we're going into more of this long sword. You have increased leverage, obviously, with being able to use 2 hands. You have more range, you know, holding people at bay on the thrust. The option to go into a 2-handed grip, and also really good cutting ability. So this one cut extremely well. Obviously, the tatami mat wasn't soaked, but it went through almost all the way, even off of a mat that wasn't even soaked. So with the factory edge, with the way this thing flies, it essentially flies like a single-handed sword that's just stretched out for more range and versatility for tactics. So you look at the length on this one, and I'm gonna put it back in the scabbard for a reason. This one would be extremely good for half sorting. So half sorting meaning where you're grabbing the blade when you have some sort of hand protection. Some people don't, but I'm not gonna show that without a glove on for a YouTube video. So if you look at just the actual size of this one, you know, we project that out, you know, we can be thrusting, you know, over the top or underneath or into the armpit and starting to leverage that. This is the perfect distance of that, where the upper third and the tip are projecting forward enough to where you have that thrusting ability, but it's within pretty much the outside of shoulder width distance. So the proportions are correct for that. So whether we're half sorting, I'll take it out, but I'm not putting my hand on the blade. Boom, if you're using that in half sorting where you're grabbing the blade with some sort of hand protection, whether you're holding this with 2 hands, going into work on parry and thrust, you're hitting something out of the way into the thrust, or whether you're holding this in a single hand and seeing how well this thing flies just off of that single hand. It's really impressive. They did a great job on it. You guys see in the cutting, I hit 2 of the reverse backhand cuts that I like to use on those, because they're a very common cut just across all swords, whether it's on foot or on horseback. I just like to offer that. So looking at the handle, got a wood cord leather wrapped handle, more of this oval-ish pommel, which I like that it's not actually a circular pommel, because when you are holding this, that grip gets more caught in the pommel, which I like if you are going to use that with 2 hands. And then obviously too, you know, if you are half sorting with it, I just like that it catches. It just catches a lot better. It just catches a lot better with that shape of pommel, and I think it just counterbalances it really well for cut. So that's what I have to say about that wood cord leather wrapped handle that matches the scabbard. This is overlaid in the same red as the scabbard. We're going to see the grip is more thick toward the guard, and then it thins out and tapers out toward the pommel. So if you are playing this more with the 2-handed grip, I like to personally grab the pommel. I'm sure a lot of people do. This seems kind of congested in my opinion. So it's starting to feel more like a pole arm when you start using that with that grip off of the pommel. So it's pretty sweet. From that to a single-handed grip, Can't really go wrong with that. Let's do some up close looks of this one in the scabbard and out of the scabbard. Overall length 45 1/8 inch. Blade length 36 7/16 with a weight of 2 pounds 8 ounces. Fully functional sharp edge. The width is 51.7 millimeters. Thickness goes from 5.8 down to 2.8 millimeters. Peened pommel. Point of balance is 5 3/4 inches with a grip length of 6 3/4 inch. Blade steel is 9260 high carbon steel, manufactured by Balaur arms. Let's take a look at the cut testing with the 13th to 14th century longsword. I chose to go single-handed and into 2 reverse backhand cuts here, just to show the versatility and how nimble this one is from Balaur. So as we can see, I'm gonna move this up a little bit. Very smooth. Even something that is, you know, you could argue is very thrust orientated, based on the point of balance and just the overall how comfortable this thing is. That cut really well just with a single hand. So hey, thanks for joining me for this quick review of the Balaur arms 13th to 14th century longsword. Really just a stretched out arming sword, especially an earlier category with this little bit shorter of a guard, but very nimble in hand. If you're someone who's into the time period of half swording and you want something to add to your collection, click the link in the description below this video to buy this one today and add to your collection. Remember, the factory edge is great on this one. You don't have to get it sharpened. I'm your host, Tom, for Kult of Athena's YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and I'll see you in the next review.